When it comes to mixed martial arts, legends are made in moments, title fights, knockouts, rivalries. But every now and then, a legend is made in silence, overlooked, underpaid, misunderstood. This is the story of Demetrious "Mighty Mouse" Johnson, the first UFC flyweight champion, and maybe the only one who ever truly mattered. At first, Johnson wasn't supposed to be the guy. He didn't have flashy trash talk. He wasn't built like a monster. And even after winning the belt, the UFC didn't treat him like a star. When his title reign finally ended, they actually traded him for a welterweight with an average record. But Johnson didn't need hype to prove his worth. His record said it all. 25 wins, just 4 losses, and a draw. 11 title defenses, 7 finishes, and some of the most creative technical moves ever seen inside the cage. Yet somehow fans and media called him boring. Maybe it was because he didn't brag. Maybe it was because he was too small to be seen as dominant. But Johnson never let that stop him. His backstory is just as powerful as his punches. He was raised by a deaf mother. His father disappeared early, and his stepdad, abusive. But Johnson didn't complain. He worked hard, stayed humble, and carried himself like a true professional from day one. Before the UFC, he dominated the small circuits in the Pacific Northwest and even fought in Alaska. His early footage is grainy, rare, but even then, you could see it. Fast feet, sharp hands, a mix of strikes and takedowns that left opponents confused and off balance. Once he made it to the big leagues, first in the WEC, then in the UFC. His path wasn't easy. In his debut, he faced Brad Pickett, a tough, brawling Brit with knockout power. Pickett won the fight, but Johnson showed the speed and grit of a future champion. Next came fights against Nick Pace, Damasio Page, and eventually a rising star named Kid Yamamoto. Yamamoto was once a pound-for-pound great, but injuries had taken their toll. Johnson outworked him, outclassed him, and proved he belonged in the UFC. Still, the spotlight stayed elsewhere. Even against big names like Miguel Torres, Johnson didn't get the praise. He won by decision, but many fans thought Torres should have gotten the nod. Johnson didn't argue. He just kept moving forward. And then came the title shot. Not at flyweight, but at bantamweight, against Dominic Cruz, a champion known for footwork, range, and impossible angles. Johnson fought hard, but lost by decision. Still, his performance caught the UFC's attention. They saw something brewing in the smaller weight classes. So, in 2012, they created the UFC flyweight division. And Johnson was front and center. It wasn't an easy road. In the first round of the flyweight tournament, he faced Ian "Uncle Creepy" McCall, a fast, tricky wrestler with a mean clinch game. Johnson had to dig deep, and though he made mistakes, you could see it. He was evolving. Punch by punch, round by round, Demetrious Johnson was becoming something rare. Not just a fighter, not just a champion, a master of the craft. The UFC flyweight belt was waiting, and Mighty Mouse was ready to take it. There are levels to this game, and Demetrious "Mighty Mouse" Johnson was playing on one no one else could reach. When the UFC created the flyweight division, fans didn't know what to expect. People were used to heavy hitters and knockouts. But Johnson stepped in and changed everything. His size didn't matter, his skill did. With lightning speed, razor-sharp timing, and flawless technique, he wasn't just winning fights, he was redefining what dominance looked like. From 2012 to 2018, Johnson ruled the flyweight division with an iron grip. He defended his UFC title 11 times, setting a record that still stands. And he didn't just hold on to the belt, he made it look effortless. He was evolving every fight, every round. He brought something new to the table. He blended wrestling, striking, submissions, and movement into one seamless style. He didn't rely on brute strength. He overwhelmed opponents with angles, transitions, and creativity. Joseph Benavidez, John Dodson, Kyoji Horiguchi, Henry Cejudo, he beat them all. And it wasn't just that he won, it's how he won. Submitting Horiguchi with 1 second left on the clock. Outclassing Dodson with relentless pace and pressure. Making Olympic gold medalist Cejudo look ordinary in their first fight. Johnson was operating on a different frequency, mentally, physically, tactically. It was surgical, smooth, and ruthless. But no reign lasts forever. In 2018, he faced Henry Cejudo again. This time, Cejudo was different, stronger, more composed. He'd studied, he'd grown. The fight was razor close, with both men having their moments. It went the distance, and when it was over, the judges awarded Cejudo the win by split decision. Just like that, Johnson's historic run came to an end. A 6-year reign snapped. There was no meltdown, no excuses, no drama. Johnson nodded, accepted the loss, and walked out with grace. He'd lost the belt, but not the respect. That moment showed his character more than any victory ever could. Then something unexpected happened. The UFC traded him. In a landmark deal, Johnson was sent to one championship in Asia, while Ben Askren came to the UFC. It was the first trade in MMA history. Some fans were shocked. Some critics called it a demotion. Others saw it as a fresh start. But to Johnson, it wasn't a downgrade. It was a new mountain to climb. One championship had different rules, a different cage, and a completely different rhythm. Johnson didn't flinch. He entered the One Flyweight Grand Prix, a tournament designed to find the best in the world. He beat Tatsumitsu Wada in a gritty decision, then outclassed Danny Kingett in the finals, winning the tournament and earning a shot at the belt. But the champion waiting for him was Adriano Moraes. Taller, longer, and dangerously powerful, Moraes was no easy task. In their first meeting, Johnson did what he always did, pressed forward. But this time, he walked into danger. A short uppercut dropped him, and a grounded knee finished the job. For the first time in his legendary career, Johnson had been knocked out. Critics said it was the end. That age had caught up, that his time had passed. But real champions don't fold, they adjust. In the rematch, Johnson came back smarter, sharper. He stayed patient, waited for his moment. In round 4, he returned the favor, landing a right hand, then a flying knee that sent Moraes crashing. It was brutal, clean, and poetic. They fought a third time in 2023. This time, no wild finish, just control, calm, and clarity. Johnson outpointed Moraes over 5 rounds, defended his title, and reminded everyone exactly who he was. Then, in a moment that said everything, he took off his gloves and placed them in the center of the cage. No speech, no tears, just a quiet gesture. Maybe it was goodbye, maybe not. But it didn't matter. Demetrious Johnson had already left his mark, not just on the division, but on the sport itself. He made flyweights a must-watch. He turned technique into artistry. He wasn't chasing fame, he was chasing mastery. And he caught it.
If you felt that fight, drop a like. If you want more, hit subscribe. This is massive, and we're just getting started. What do you think about this?